berry and tropical fruits.
It kind of sounds like a variety of marijuana.
I was thinking Idaho potatoes.
Oh, I suppose that would be a more logical.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You were thinking Sterling was on a marijuana kick already.
Well,
Jeez.
you never know. That's coming. We saw it in Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee, Madison, when we were there for Forward Madison's game. That CBD cannabis, infused beer. It was all the rage in Madison.
We're gonna have that here shortly.
And I kept saying, I don't want to get into it, but I kept ordering a couple beers, and I was getting looks by people next to me after you had left, I think, Sterling, where I think I asked somebody, what do you think of this? And they're like, I wouldn't have that because of the CBD. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, it's infused with cannabis oil type thing. And but I don't know, it was good.
So did you feel like any aches and pains were alleviated?
No, I didn't necessarily have any aches and pains at the time. I was feeling no pain, actually, if I remember correctly. But
we're not going to talk about this story.
Right.
I mean, that's what CBD's for.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have a story about Stevens from a long time ago that we're not going to talk about. Another drug that he had no pain on. Another time.
All right.
Dave, what did you get?
I ended up going with the flagship, the BlackStack White, mainly because of you already talked about it, so I won't beat it to death. But it's crushable, as they would say. It's very easy drinking. It's very light beer. If you want to have more than one beer, this is the beer to have. Yeah.
And what did you get as your little sample?
And I'll let you know if I need to speak up about it later, but I probably won't have it quite now. But it's called the Midnight Marauders.
Ooh.
Yeah. So and that's a Mole Imperial Stout. So I'm very curious to try it. I just got the little, I got the 5-ounce kind of sampler that they give you.
So you got the one with the coffee beans in it.
Yes.
Hits like a piece of chocolate cake.
All right, we'll tell you
with
what.
Coffee.
This live pod, I will take a sip right now. I will take a sip right now.
No. Oh, wait. Did you get the after or the before? Oh, okay.
Before.
Never mind.
I just took a sip of it, and I can. First impression is it does taste like kind of if you're talking about biting into something as a reference to drinking a beer, it would be biting into a chocolate bar kind of.
Oh, there you go. A chocolate cake.
I can taste the mole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there coffee? No,
it's the after midnight.
That was my mistake. I should have gotten the coffee mole Imperial Stout because I'm a huge fan of the coffee.
It's got ancho chilies in it.
I get that too,
crazy.
but
is it a little burnt?
Again, the aftertaste.
Yeah.
You feel it on the aftertaste. First impression is the chocolate bar, and then you have that kind of chili aftertaste.
Yeah,
very nice. So, let's talk about Portland once again, guys, because we have a game coming up on Wednesday against Portland, semifinals of the U.S. Open Cup.
Yes. Semifinals at Allianz Field.
At Allianz Field.
Wednesday night.
3 of us will be there. So, after today's game,
we apparently have an extra ticket, by the way.
We do?
Yeah.
Anybody listening out there who listens to this on Monday or Tuesday,
I was going to say, unfortunately, you're not going to find out until probably Tuesday, but still.
But let's talk about this a little bit because the fact that we played them today, so I get a feeling there's going to be some changes on both sides.
And I mean, I don't know, for our casual listeners, this is not something that happens often.
No.
And you're talking about a home and home.
Yeah.
Not a home and home, but back-to-back home games against the same team within 4 days.
Yeah.
It's very unusual.
So I get a feeling that Adrian Heath will come with some kind of twist to put in there.
Here's the easy one, of course, and
Darwin playing Vito as striker.
Oh yeah.
Darwin. Interesting. Well, maybe I should step off my Darwin Quintero comment. But the obvious thing to say here is that because of his yellow card accumulation, Darwin Quintero's sitting in the stands. You would have to assume that would be the obvious change. Maybe
he's fresh.
Would it be over Molino, or would it be moving some other pieces around?
I mean, if I had to pick based on the play today, it will be over Molino.
Yeah.
Lude will be moved to the left where he belongs. I mean, as he played
question.
today.
Do you expect to see Lude start that game? Whether he plays the full 90 or not, you hope to see him start.
I think he starts based on how bad Miggy was.
Yeah.
I think he starts.
So those are two easy changes, maybe, than Lude and Quintero in the lineup.
Yeah.
Do you see somebody? Here's what I was wondering: do you see somebody like a Brent Coleman maybe take a little load off Iko Para, or even Lawrence Lum coming in for Ozzie Alonso? Do you see one of those two moves?
There's argument. I mean, if we might as well just pull FC Dallas game into this.
Yeah.
as Dave, you pointed out, we play FC Dallas on Saturday.
So that's 3 matches within 8 days.
Right, and so it's it's kind of the drawdown of this constant playing, I guess, kind of. And considering San Jose plays Colorado, Salt Lake plays Kansas City, arguably easier games for those opponents. They're games that would directly impact our playoff hopes,
right?
Or positioning, at least.
Yeah.
I think you try to maybe rest some guys to get some good starters for FC Dallas. And I don't think Kelman is too much of a step down for either Ike or Boxing.
Agreed, and I don't think we're over there's no more debate. We know that Heath is taking this competition, the Open Cup, seriously.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about it. We don't even need to get into that. But so it's the question of managing the 3 games in 8 days, and so it's not going to be your B squad. But you most likely, at least I would expect to see a few changes, maybe 2 or 3 changes. Obviously, we mentioned the easy ones.
And you can maybe even see. Honestly, I could see Dotson start.
I would choose Dotson over McNair.
Yeah, I mean, or even starting him on the left over Gasper. I mean,
that would be if you could make if you could do, and is it realistic? Could you do the Dotson for Gasper swap?
I mean, he played.
That would
he
make
played
a lot
fine
of sense.
before on the left.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even remotely his preferred position.
I would do Dotson for McNair just because of the fact that McNair has played a lot in the Cup.
Yeah, and he
Africa,
picked right up where he left off.
And he's trying to kind of come back. I think this would be a nice off game for him between this and the Dallas game.
I mean, the crazy thing is we're in a position where, honestly, we have a decent amount of depth.
Yes.
So it's not fantastic, but it's pretty good.
The other advantage Minnesota has heading into this match, having already beat Portland, is they're at home for both of these games.
Again, yeah.
So that kind of takes a little bit of the load off. They aren't traveling. Granted, they will have to travel to Dallas, assuming next Thursday or Friday, but at least they're home for these 2 against Portland.
And I would hope that the home squad or the home fans on Wednesday would be pretty substantial.
Speaking of that, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I know we were at the David Sterling and I were at the quarterfinal, and they had about I want to say 12,000. They basically filled up the lower bowl. They didn't sell any tickets in the upper deck. But now this is different.
This is semifinal.
They are definitely going to sell the upper deck. I would, in my mind, I hope to see the same crowd that we had today. It is a Wednesday night game. Will there be a few less fans? Most likely.
It's a Wednesday night game.
But I would like to see a close sellout.
It's a semifinal matchup. I mean, this is crazy. We've never been in this position before.
No.
It's our 3rd year in the league. I mean, and I would hope fans come out for this.
And we had asked the question, I mean, like, if it was up to you, and we actually, earlier, we were here at BlackStack before we went to the game, and we, asked some Portland fans, if this is a completely impossible scenario, but if you had the choice, hypothetically speaking, if your team, whether you're talking about Portland or Minnesota, could win one game and lose the other, there's no draws. You're going to win one, you're going to lose. Obviously, there's no draws in the Open Cup, but you're going to win a game and you're going to lose a game. What would you prefer? Portland made it, or at least the fans that we talked to, made it sound like they would much rather have the Open Cup.
Well, and that's
I think
for good reason,
and because they're kind of on the line of the playoffs right now,
right? You don't know their future in the next 12 games.
Yeah.
And honestly, you don't know our future in the next 12 games, but
so
it's still the obvious opportunity to get silverware.
Let's go past if we win on Wednesday. Atlanta plays what? Orlando
the night before on Tuesday night.
And if
so
Orlando,
we'll know.
So we will know.
If Orlando beats Atlanta
at home,
it's in Allianz.
It's the final game would be at Allianz Field,
right? Which would be outrageous.
And I would expect that game would be crazy.
I mean, I will call in sick.
Yeah, I would too.
The day of the ticket sale,
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure I get tickets.
And we talked about this. I mean, it would almost have to be midweek again.
It would, yeah.
I mean, considering the condensed MLS schedule this year, there is no alternative.
You can't play these games other than Wednesdays anyway. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Oh, Dave's
Siri
was on.
Which team?
Which team? What are you talking about? So yeah,
Minnesota United.
We have Portland on Wednesday. We got Dallas on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see what Adrian Heath does Wednesday with his lineup.
Yep.
So let's call it tinkering. He's going to tinker with.
He's
going to
tinker a little bit. Yeah,
probably.
And he's got some easy choices and maybe a little bit more of a difficult choice. It seemed like everybody came out healthy from this Portland
Well,
match.
I mean, based on how much Portland rolled around on the ground,
they might
you'd
not be
almost
healthy.
suggest they have injury issues.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
I mean,
they made it look like
there was a couple where it was like, really? That's
Yeah.
not even close.
Blanco was on the ground for like 10 minutes.
I noticed at the conclusion of the game, there was a couple of Portland players kind of
There was
sitting down.
one guy that he was on the ground when the whistle was blowing.
So maybe Minnesota United are a little bit, better off heading into that game on Wednesday. It's something as a fan, sitting here as a fan, that I'm very much looking forward to.
It's going to be exciting, guys.
It's a semifinal U.S. Open Cup match.
We were talking on the walk back to BlackStack that, when it comes to playoffs, the only team in the West that I'd be worried about is LAFC. I'm the same way that with the U.S. Open Cup. Look, we're playing them in Allianz Field.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's Orlando or if it's Portland. Yeah. I'm not worried about it.
And you say not worried, but I mean that is one thing that you talk about the playoffs is the fact that Minnesota United, they aren't going to take their foot off the pedal here because because they've switched MLS. For those that don't know, that MLS has switched their playoff format going into this year.
Right.
There is no home and home.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's winner take all, so to speak.
Yeah.
Kind of like our traditional American playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you finish the first, and here's one of the changes was if you finish first, so let's call it LAFC, they have a bye in the first round, and the next 3, 2, 3, and 4 seeds, they would host the home game.
That's right.
So how big is that?
That's
to
huge.
host
Yeah.
a
It's
playoff
huge.
game.
It's huge.
Because it's one and done.
Yep.
So I mean, you're going to see a fight.
And that's why I think, while it's obvious that we have to take the U.S. Open Cup seriously because we're in semis,
Yeah.
it's also there's a lingering argument there that you have to consider your position in the table.
Of course you do.
And it just like with Portland, they have to consider they're under the playoff line.
Yeah.
They're going to have a game next weekend that could put them over the playoff line.
And
Do they consider being cautious?
And maybe they have to because you have 2 fights now. You have 2. I mean, it's more emphasized now the fact that if you're sitting obviously like Portland on the playoff line, that's one thing. But if you're like a Minnesota where you're sitting in the 4 or 5 or 3 spot where you're fighting for that home playoff game,
well, you want
that's
that.
huge.
That's huge. It's huge.
And so, a point was brought up. I honestly, off the top of my head, I cannot think of who said as much, but I believe it was a coach. But where you won't necessarily see like a team like in years past, like a Seattle, they make a late run, make the playoffs as the 6th seed, and then can make a run.
Right.
You don't necessarily get that because back then, even as early as last year, you had the home and home.
Right.
Yeah.
So it puts less of an importance on getting that higher seed.
Now you have a one and done.
Because you're still going to have a home game
You have a one and
in
done.
that format.
Yeah,
Now
it's
one
so
and
much
done.
more like the NFL now, where you want those higher seeds to get that
it's
home
like
field advantage.
NFL, like the NCAA tournament in basketball. I mean, one and done type of deal, right?
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what Heath does on Wednesday because, I think he wants to win the Open Cup.
Right.
But again, you're in second place now.
Yep.
So
At least for the next few hours.
for the next few hours.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you want to keep that 2, 3, 4 position.
Right.
You don't want to lose ground.
Right.
And if you go into Wednesday and you put all your starters in and you don't change anything up, then when you come into Saturday against Dallas and all your guys are winded and we lose that flipping game,
Right.
that'd be a big coup. Be like, what the hell?
I think it's important to point out, even with the results of tonight, let's say Seattle wins, we're still in third.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's you're still in a home field spot. So, yeah, I mean, I will reiterate, there's only one team right now in the Western Conference that I'd be worried about coming into Allianz.